With the mainstream media focusing on domestic issues here in the United States, there's a lot of important international news with these two major superpowers, the United States and Russia, that is critically important because tensions for a full-out nuclear war are higher since the Cold War. And in this video, we're going to break down the latest developments between these two major superpowers, their posturing, the military drills and exercises, and budgets that have been expanding that seem to be escalating very extensively, and we need to be extremely vigilant when it comes to this. So, just yesterday, we released a video from the Russian defense minister at his press conference documenting direct support of the Turkish government supporting ISIS. The Turkish government said that it would resign if Russia presented evidence. Since Russia presented the evidence, the Turkish government responded by saying, "How dare you even make these accusations?" when Russia presented satellite photos, images, and maps of the direct oil trade, illegal oil trade, that has been financing the ISIS operations. Because of this, the tensions and insults and feuds between Turkey and Russia have been escalating. This is extremely important since Turkey is a part of NATO, and NATO has a protocol saying if one country is attacked, the whole of NATO has to respond. And obviously this leads to a very dangerous situation with Putin not backing down in any way, shape, or form, threatening Turkey, saying that Turkey will regret for shooting down their two Russian military aircraft over the Syrian-Turkey border. They're responding in many different geopolitical ways, but one way that they're answering back is by also threatening a full all-out nuclear war. There's Russian politicians right now who are bigger war hawks than Vladimir Putin, who are saying that Putin is being weak on foreign policy and that Russia just needs to send a nuclear bomb over to Turkey. Yes, this is actually happening right now. Russia, of course, is answering back in many different ways. Many people, even Politico, are saying that the tensions between the United States and Russia could go nuclear. And as we know, there's many incidences that we do not hear about that are underreported that do bring us on the brink of a full all-out scale war between these two major superpowers. For instance, just a couple months ago, a U.S. spy plane probing Russia's border was forced to flee into Swedish airspace to escape harassment by Russian fighters. These violations of airspace happen many times between major superpowers, and as Turkey responded just a few days ago, this could lead to a full hot war between major superpowers, especially when it comes to NATO backing Turkey. Turkey seems to be a huge liability for NATO, for the world right now, especially since all the evidence that Russia is providing and coming out to the world stage about that has been simply ignored. Just 20 days ago, Putin talked about how the United States is still building its missile defense systems all around Russia. Officially, the United States says this is because of Iran. Putin, just 20 days ago, said, well, Iran and the United States just reached a nuclear deal that would stop them building a nuclear weapon. Why is the United States, why is NATO still building this missile defense system around our country? And of course, Putin sees this as a threat to neutralize them. The main threat that Putin is to the United States is because of his nuclear weapons. As we know, the U.S. Navy is successfully intercepting missiles, possible intercontinental nuclear missiles, and they have tests with their missile defense system all around Russia to stop them from sending a nuke. But we have to also understand that over the last 3 years, the Russian defense industry has created and successfully tested a long-range missile, a weapon that can operate against multiple missile defense systems. So the Russians are building specific nuclear weapons to overwhelm U.S. defenses. The U.S. is not backing down in any way, shape, or form. They're saying Iran and North Korea are an excuse, but Russia is answering back by developing even newer nuclear weapons. The United States sees Russia as a threat. We know this because even the U.S. Army Chief of Staff, General Mike Miley, said that it is the only significant threat, existential threat against the United States. He warned that Russia's recent behavior suggested that its leaders would be willing to resort to this military capabilities in the event of conflict. He says this because Russia's military is not as powerful as the America's military. The main weapon that Russia has in its arsenal is its nuclear weapons. It's their trump card. It is their major system that could overwhelm the United States. The United States knows this, So they are trying to neutralize this threat so they could continue their geopolitical maneuvers all around the world without being stopped by Russia. As we know, Ukraine, as we know, Syria have been major contentions for these two major superpowers. The United States wants to neutralize them, but Russia is not backing down in any way, shape, or form. So, the United States and the Pentagon are using this threat to spend what many NGOs are saying would be $500 billion in the making of creating more nuclear weapons by the United States. This is an extreme buildup of extremely dangerous weapons from the U.S. And as it was now announced today, the Pentagon just awarded Lockheed Martin a $49.1 million contract to create more missiles, intercontinental missiles that could carry nuclear weapons. The United States is saying, and many experts are saying, this deal was done today because of Russia's successful test of its Doomsday Command Center. And as we know, just a few days ago, Russia announced that it will deploy its latest command plane for disasters, for a possible nuclear war. So we see Russia also preparing for this full all-out scale invasion. Again, this could just be posturing, this could just be threat, but we need to be extremely vigilant. According to Russian military sources, they're saying that this new command aircraft would be used in case of infrastructure being destroyed in Russia. In case there is a nuclear war, the Russians could send up this aircraft and still have all their communications available to them. If Russia would be nuked, their military would still be in command with this latest plane. The United States also has a very similar plane in its arsenal. People even within our own government, a House Democrat, is warning that Obama's actions could lead to a devastating nuclear war. This brave congresswoman said, with Obama's latest deployment of F-16s near the Turkish-Syrian border, which are meant to ensure the safety of NATO allies, Turkey, this could result in a full all-out escalation of war between these superpowers. Now, of course, the full annihilation of the world is possible, but to be honest, the threat is low. Even though these people are crazy, even though these people are doing these extreme measures, not only bolstering their military, not only giving more money to the military-industrial complex, making more nuclear bombs, like we don't already have it already around this world with both of these superpowers combined, but we're seeing these tensions escalate. But honestly, the risk is low. But we do need to be vigilant, especially with all the latest developments, and we need to pay attention to what's happening on the global scale, and the mainstream media in the United States is not doing that in any way, shape, or form. We have to keep an eye on this. We have to know what's happening, but the American people and the people of the world sadly don't, because these reports are not being mentioned at all, anywhere, except here with real independent media keeping an eye on the most important world-changing events that are happening geopolitically all around the world.